Hi, I'm Marshall from Ask Marsh, and today we're talking to Kieren and Mark from Lasertrade. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Oh, wow.
Very good,
Well,
thank you.
popped up. I can see we're all at home, so we were actually doing this from Melbourne, so we're not in the same room. We're everywhere. So, Kieren, I'm going to start with you. Tell
Yep.
me about Lasertrade. How did it get started?
Yeah. So Lasertrade, effectively, what we are, we're a marketplace for medical professionals. But where it's quite interesting is that everything we sell, we actually get engineers to test and qualify everything, and we handle all the shipping as well, so that people know it's safe, it's reliable, it's simple, and it's a really great way to buy and sell secondhand capital medical. The way we actually got started, though, was quite interesting. Was prior to this, I was actually selling medical lasers. And whenever you sold a laser, every doctor would say, "Great, you sold me this new laser. What do I do with my old one?" And every doctor has like a whole bloody storage room filled with old lasers. And so what we actually started doing was saying, okay, well, maybe I can sell those for you. And it was really as simple as actually taking some photos of those and actually looking to sell them on Gumtree, and just taking a commission clip from there. And once we got the first sales rolling, it was a question of, great, that worked. Where do we get more of these, and how do we get better at this? How do we really refine this so it's not just flipping on Gumtree anymore, but actually a curated site where people can easily search, and make the experience as good as it can be.
Okay, so I'm a laser doctor. What
Mhm.
sort of what sort of medical professionals are using lasers?
So at the moment, most of our work is within the cosmetic space.
Okay.
So you're thinking tattoo removal, skin ablative, pigmentation, vascular, skin tightening, all that sort of work. But the nature of the problem that we're looking to solve, in that having buyers and sellers connect in a way so they can trade together, but then we handle the shipping and the verification. It's something that's not unique to cosmetics. We're there because that's where my expertise is, of course. But ultimately, this is something that we are planning to roll out into dental, into gynecology, into ophthalmology, into the whole medical spectrum, because
There was an interruption. So we're back with Kieren now, who we lost momentarily, thank you to the magic of the internet. Kieren, we were talking about what Lasertrade does. You were talking about it's medical professionals that they can I'm guessing they can go to Gumtree now and pick up crappy equipment, but
yeah.
your part of your service is that I'm a little bit protected because you're looking after it, make sure it's legitimate and everything's up to date and it's not going to blow up on me when it gets installed.
Absolutely. It's yeah. So look, obviously, and as terrible as this sounds, there are $100,000 medical lasers being traded on Gumtree now. And you're exactly right. And so when doctors are looking to buy on Gumtree, you don't know if what you're buying is genuine. We actually have had cases where people have asked us to check equipment. We check with the manufacturer. It turns out it's a fake from China. Even if the outside shell looks legitimate and the outside may be correct, an engineer may have come in previously and fitted it with counterfeit parts to save on money. So we're trying to make it that whole, for the buyers, we make it legitimized, and they know that what they're buying is working. And then for sellers as well, you don't have to deal with just absolute tire kickers who are coming in saying, "Oh, it's 100 grand. Yeah, we'll take it for 2 grand." So we allow it to be a little bit more curated for the seller side as well, and we increase their visibility.
Very good. So this is enough disincentive for me to get my tattoos removed. So is this a Lasertrade approved removal or not? So let's introduce Mark. Mark, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and how perhaps you guys got involved together?
Yeah, so my background's really been much more technical. Been involved in IT now for about 20 years. Started as a simple little junior web developer and slowly worked my way through becoming senior developer, and then on my way to become a business analyst and much more involved in the IT strategy side. So my area of expertise really is much more about taking on board what a company's doing, looking at how to improve it through technology and innovation, and really helping create efficiencies within the company itself. So that's what sort of come along to help Kieren. We met through the Founders Institute, actually, where we sort of started talking about what each other's doing. I actually had a company I was working on for about contract management, but unfortunately with COVID, where there are no contracts happening, in fact, contracts being lost, it was a good time to sort of put on pause. And then Kieren really needed some help from the technical side. So that's where we met and decided that's where a good synergy between the two of us would be to work on Lasertrade and really take it to that next level, and a lot more automation in the background on it.
Always fascinated about founder stories where the founders come from different backgrounds. So you guys have now got sort of maybe the more technical focused and the more marketing focused. How does that work together? How do you balance who's in charge of what? How do you make decisions?
you want to handle that, Mark, or me?
Look, I'll go.
As an example of you handling a decision right there.
A lot of it is just trusting that each other has the knowledge of where they're coming from. So Kieran brought me on board because he knows that technical knowledge. So he takes on board what I say, he listens to what I put out there, what I think the right way forward is. We may have debates, but ultimately, in the end, what I'm on for is to really make sure the technical side of the product works well, that the back end does exactly what Kieren needs. So I listen to what he needs and I let him know, can it be done nicely? Is it going to cost a lot? Can we get it done quickly? And then he takes it on board and then uses his process for sales and marketing around what I say we can and can't do at the current moment, and then what looks like might be future. Taking that on board as well, I listen to what he needs. And, I don't know the customers as well as Kieren, so I have ideas of how things should work, but then I listen to what Kieren says about customers, and obviously he's much more involved in that area. So I think, right, well, that's how the customer wants it. I'm going to change my mindset of what these customers are, and then try and make sure the product works the way the customers need it and want it to work.
For sure. So, Kieren, so apart from introducing you to Mark, what other benefits did you get from participating in the Founder Institute?
Well, I mean, the great thing with Founders Institute is it does set you up properly for if you do want to continue the business further, whether you want to go investment or not. So, prior going to FI, it was a little bit, the business was very much, spreadsheets calling people and just trying to put things together and make money. Where it was a little bit more about, okay, you need to start organizing a formal structure around things. So, saying, your buyer isn't every single person who calls on Gumtree. Your buyer is, doctors of this particular type, of this, in this particular area. So it was really just about helping to solidify a lot of the business ideas in my mind that have always sort of been there, but then actually writing it down on paper. And, the actual thing for us, when we did go on to, further investment, it was great because they're like, oh, can we see document X, Y, Z? It's like, yeah, here it is. It's nice having those documents there rather than having to then go back and redraft everything.
So put everything in place. So which leads us on, I guess, to what's happened since. So we're talking now in August 2020. You graduated in January. What's the last 6 or 7 months been?
Yeah, last 6 or 7 months. So we, coming out of FI, we basically just were, cruising along, doing our thing. We ended up applying for a few different accelerators. Luckily, we actually got accepted into 2 of them. So we're very thankful for that. We ended up going ahead with Startmate, which is run by Blackbird. So we started there. I think we're on about week 6 now. So started there, and that's been a pretty quick acceleration curve going in there. So they really do sort of push you quite aggressively there. We've started expanding more internationally as well. So we've actually had our international reseller channel through China grow quite quickly. Okay. And yeah, we're on a record month at the moment, so it should be good.
Revenue, traction, these are exciting things. So without naming the other opportunity you had, so you had a choice between Startmate and something else. Yep. What were the 2 or 3 things about Startmate that made you decide to go that way and not with the other accelerator?
A few things. So one, when we were in the inquiry process, they were very quick to respond and very quick to get back, which for me personally, that's a big factor. I find it very frustrating when you're trying to get in contact with people. You put something through the contact form or you're trying to get in touch and they take, 2 or 3 weeks or they just don't get back to you. So that's the responsiveness. I did end up having a good chat with Nick Crocker, who's on their board. And one thing that's curious about Startmate is that every mentor in Startmate is an investor in Startmate as well. So it's not a case of them bringing on board external consultancy. It's basically the guys who are mentoring us. It's their money, that's being provided. And for us, between the 2 accelerators, one of them was very med tech focused, and one of them was very it's not necessarily business, but tech, just like hard tech focused. And the concept for us was, when we look at the business as a milestone challenge, what's the bigger challenge? Is it learning to scale and grow in the medical side? Or is it, are we good in the medical side and it's learning to grow an online scalable business? And when the 2 sort of came head to head, the online scalable business side won over the medical technology side. And so we ended up focusing on Startmate, which works mainly with tech companies.
So you're a niche business, but the broader scope perhaps, or the bigger vision of Startmate was something that helped.
It's Yeah, it's because we understand we are fundamentally med tech, but we're also e-commerce, right? And so the question is, do you go med tech or do you go e-commerce? I think if you get e-commerce right, you'll get med tech will follow suit. But if you get med tech right, you may not necessarily sell anything. So the focus on the sales and the marketing side was really what won in the end.
And there was a lot of I don't know, a lot of the network out of Startmate.
Oh yeah. Yep, you can go on.
Sorry, okay. Saying a lot of the I think I froze for a second. A lot of the network out of Startmate was also that people coming from the backgrounds that we really needed. So that people from some of the big marketplaces out there, you know, from eBay, from other genuine marketplaces that are doing very well, they've got large investment, got large boards. So for us, it was that expertise of people being there, done that in the marketplace, online, how to go from being very manual based, which we were, to getting much more automated, and the metrics you've got to measure out that as well. You know, I look at where we are now compared to, you know, 6 weeks ago, and we're almost a completely different company in a way, because we've managed to put so much of that business focus in now of metrics, counting how many sales we're getting, how long each sale takes, how many we're losing, you know, what our revenue is based on different commissions, etc. So I think that the push we got from the mentors of the right business focus really helped us get to where we are now.
Very good. So the last 12 months, you've gone through Founder Institute, you've gone through Startmate, and you've just had a record month. What's the next, I don't know, 12 months, 3 years, 10 years? What's the plan? What's the expectation?
I think you're always sort of rewriting the plan every single month in the early days of a startup. So the plan for the next 12 months is really, there probably will be some level of investment raise in there. What amount and what percentage, we're still in the space of determining, but it's very, very likely we will be raising in the near future. The goal at the moment is to focus, we actually had our plan at the moment is to focus primarily on the Australian market. We will have international appeal still, as we do, but with marketplaces, you really want to get a burning hot core that becomes self-sufficient before you start to expand out from that. So we're going to focus on the Australian market, and we're already started doing our studies into which are the adjacent markets we're going to go into. So whether that is, we first go to dental, to gynae, to ophthalmology, whether to general surgery. So within 12 months, we want cosmetics to be burning hot, self-sufficient, ready to go, and already have those expansion plans into the adjacent markets. Within 3 years, I would like to have that moving over to the international space, particularly into China as our major partner. And then the hope that in 10 years would be, the way that I envision it is that any doctor from anywhere in the world can take pictures of what's in their clinic and say, this is what's for sale. And then if any other doctor in the world already has it registered on a database that they're looking for those items, it'll instantly send a message that says, hey, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. A, Dr. B, somewhere else in the world has your system for sale. This is the price. Would you like to have a chat with them? Connect them together so they will discuss price. And then once they come together for a price, we'll handle the shipping. We'll make sure it's validated. We'll do the engineering checks, and we just transfer it all across. And that would be for any medical indication, any medical type, even working with hospitals in that regard, trading between hospitals. That's sort of the long-term vision.
No, that's a big vision. So I've got two more questions, and I'll let you go. The first one is, why? It sounds like something that the medical technology companies wouldn't like, at this sort of second-hand market that they're not monetizing. I'd much prefer, if I was selling medical technology, I'd much prefer people come and buy my stuff rather than something from another country and all that sort of business. Why aren't they the enemy in this process?
To some degree, they can be, if you look at it in a certain way. It's kind of like saying secondhand car dealers can be the enemy of new car dealers. But our clients are also their clients. So in order for us to get a secondhand system, we're generally trading it from a client who's bought from them brand new, and they're probably looking to buy brand new again. So the market set of used cars is different to the market set of brand new cars. So it's a slightly different market set. Also within medical, there's ongoing like service fees and clinical fees. So a lot of these big medical companies make a lot of their money on consumables and ongoing training because it's mandated by law in a lot of medical cases that the practitioners have to be up to date on these things. So there's a recurring revenue component to it as well. And as I said, most of our clients, so for example, they will be, let's say we're looking at plastic surgeons, right? A lot of plastic surgeons, the reason why they're selling systems secondhand is because they want to buy the brand new shiny laser. But they'll say, I don't want to buy the shiny laser unless you can get me something secondhand for my old one. So we are effectively looking to act as the second-hand trading arm of every single medical supplier in the industry. So rather than every medical supplier having their own second-hand trading force, basically conglomerating that together into one second-hand band that is able to do all second-hand types of equipment. It actually helps them sell brand new equipment because they won't sell new unless they get rid of the old. So that's what we're there to do.
Excellent. That was something that was burning. Like once you started talking about it, it was a nice good answer. So listen, I'm going to let you go. We want to find out more about Lasertrade. Where do we go?
Yep. So, the website's live, www.lasertrade.com.au. You're also always welcome to reach out to myself or Mark on LinkedIn if you have any particular questions. And I'm always more than happy to have a chat and see what we can do to further help.
And awesome. We've got all the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You'll find us anywhere there.
Yeah. Make sure there's lots of tagging when we post this live. It's awesome. Mark and Kieren, thank you very much for your time. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, eh?
All right, thanks, Marshall.
There you guys.